cheese is already salty enough, but I'm just gonna add a tiny bit.
Rip.
Hi guys! Today we're going to be trying 2-ingredient viral recipes to see if they're actually worth it. Let's go!
Guys, for our first recipe, we're trying this one here. I'm gonna insert right here the video clip and you guys get to see it. It's basically cheese and salt crackers and we're gonna get to try them out. So let's go. I have my parchment paper right here and we're gonna line our baking sheet with that. And here is our lined parchment paper tray and cheese. And I'm just gonna go ahead and cut my cheese into the cubes like the video, and then I'm gonna line up the tray. I've cut them into little squares like they did in the video. I'm just gonna line up my parchment paper with them. Look at that. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of salt on top of each.
Not that they need more salt, honestly, because like cheese is already salty enough, but I'm just gonna.
These go in the oven for at 375 for 10 to 15 minutes. This next recipe might drive some people crazy because it's a cottage cheese recipe and it's cottage cheese chips. So I saw this video, I'm gonna insert right here, of this and mixing cottage cheese and a little bit of pepper, and it makes apparently chips. So this is really easy to make, and if it tastes good, that's gonna be really good. So let's try it out. So I'm just gonna spoon up the cottage cheese. I'm not really sure how thin. I mean, I guess they have to be a bit thinner because it's supposed to imitate chips. Take a little bit. I think that was too thick. I don't know. I'm not sure how things are gonna turn out. But we're gonna find out. And stay tuned till the end so we can test them together. Really excited to see if they will turn out nice and crispy, and we're gonna be baking them. I already have my oven turned on at 375. And it said in the video, I mean, apparently they're supposed to go in the oven for like 25 to 35 minutes. So we're gonna find out if they need a bit longer, a bit less. It said to keep an eye on them just in case, since you don't want them to burn. But we're gonna find out together. So here's our tray, and I'm gonna go ahead and just add black pepper to this. And now we just add some black pepper. And boom. We're gonna pop these in the oven at 375 for 25 to 35 minutes, and then we'll come back. So guys, just took out the cheese ones out of the oven. I'm gonna let them cool down and we're gonna try them out together, but rip. I'm not sure if I made them a little too thin or they don't work, but we're gonna find out in a little bit. I'm just gonna let them cool down for like 10 minutes and then we're gonna come back and try them out at the end of the video, so stay tuned. So for this recipe, we're making a yogurt scoops. So they're basically, okay, so basically we're grabbing some yogurt, any yogurt really, and seen this as a two-ingredient yogurt and melted chocolate. But today I want to add some peanut butter just to add as a flavor. And then you can also add any sweetener of choice. if you're wanting it a little bit more sweet. So I'm just adding about maybe a tablespoon of peanut butter into my mixture here. And then I'm just melting some dark chocolate down, but you can also use milk chocolate, white chocolate. That was our peanut butter in. And I'm just gonna mix. They scoop it into a parchment, and then we're gonna freeze it. Like an initial freeze, and then we will dip it in our chocolate. It's a little bit sticky, I'm not gonna lie. I hope it does better. I think it'll do better once frozen. I think I'm just gonna flatten them a little bit with a spoon. I'm just gonna use and grab my, honestly that looked better. And I'm just gonna shape them into like small discs. That's perfect. I'm gonna flatten this a little bit. Awesome. I'm so excited for these. And then if they turn out good, honestly, they're gonna be so like nice and crunchy. Yum. A little bit more to this one. Honestly, the 2-spoon method worked a little bit faster. So if you want to use that, you can also do that. Much faster, and also you'll have to do more dishes. Anyways, so I'm gonna throw these in the freezer for about 30 to 60 minutes, and we'll come back and we'll dip them in chocolate. Next recipe is one of my favorites. I make it all the time, and a 2-ingredient recipe. It has Greek yogurt and self-rising flour. I don't always have self-rising flour, so we're gonna make that together. Let's go. So I have my bowl here, grabbing my yogurt. And the trick for the self-rising flour, we're gonna be using flour and some baking powder to make it self-rising flour. I know it's gonna turn it into a 3-ingredient, but I'm sorry, okay? I don't have a self-rising flour right now, I'm sorry. So, I'm gonna take about a cup of yogurt. Drop the cup in. Then we're gonna grab a cup of flour. Then we just add a little bit of the baking powder to make it self-rise. Then that way you don't have to let it rise for so long or put yeast or anything like that. And then we mix. This is one of my favorites though to make, because I don't need to wait for hours and hours for it to rise, and then form it, and then let it rise again. And sometimes you're just looking for an easy recipe, and this is honestly so easy, and it makes, sometimes I'll make bagels with it, sometimes I'll make hamburger buns. you can make, I've seen people make, and I've made them before, and they taste so good. These cream cheese filled bagel bites, and if you make them with this recipe, it's like even healthier for you, and then you're able. But today we're making bread rolls with them, like the person did in the video. So, got my parchment paper here with a tray, and then we're gonna shape these into the bread rolls. Just shaping them right now, and then we're gonna pop them in the oven. I did not use a white, I did use a mixture of white flour and whole wheat flour, but honestly, most of the time I use white flour, but also I sometimes like to use a whole wheat flour, so it's honestly whatever you prefer. They both work really good. Put that in there. And the last one. Looking a bit tiny, but oh, that's okay. Just gonna flatten them a little bit because I think these in the oven at 350 for about 20 to 25 minutes. All right, you guys, and now we're gonna coat these with our melted chocolate. All right, and we're gonna have to work really fast with these so they don't melt. It's not bad. They're just really not that frozen. So I'm just gonna make one or two, and then, but I do really want to set them and be able to try them with you guys with the melted chocolate. This next one is not doing so good. I think the trick is to freeze them for a really long time.
At this point, for some reason, my mic decided to give up, so I decided just to do a little voiceover, but I really wanted to show you guys these rolls just came out of the oven. They were so hot, but I'm so excited to try them out. And now for the part that we've all been waiting for. We are going to taste test the recipes to see if they actually taste good or they only look good, or sometimes, honestly, they might just taste good. We'll find out. First, we have the cheese chip that's made with cheese and salt. And it's basically you cut your cheese into square cubes and you add some salt and you add them to the oven. And they are supposed to turn into like crispy cheese chip. Um, so let's try them out. So I tried them out, and honestly, it tastes like crispy like a chip, salty and cheesy. But honestly, you don't need it. You can even just leave the salt out, and the cheese is already salty enough that it would still be super nice. Um, and it's still like nice and crunchy. And if you're looking for like a chip, but you don't have chip around, but I didn't realize that the creator had added a little hole in the middle of the cheese squares, and I didn't do that in the first batch that I made, but I made another batch afterwards to see it would make a difference, and if mine would look like the same as theirs did, but it didn't really make it that much of a difference. So drop your comment below if you know why. Next, we're going to be trying the cottage cheese chips out. And these ones are made with cottage cheese and just a little bit of seasoning, black pepper on top. And they're supposed to go into the oven, and they're supposed to dehydrate and turn into chip. But the honestly, this one was my least favorite because it honestly did not turn out as it looked. Um, or and they did not taste like anything special. I would rather eat my cottage cheese different ways. That was just my opinion, though. I mean, they could be completely taste good for somebody else. But the cheese ones I really liked. Those ones were very tasty. Um, and I would recommend trying those ones out. But you can also still try the cottage cheese ones out, but they were just not my favorite. Next, let's try these bread rolls. And these ones are made with yogurt and self-rising flour. But if you don't have that, you can use just regular flour and some baking powder, and that kind of helps makes it into a self-rising flour. But I'm just gonna dab a little butter on it right now, and oh my god, it's still nice and hot, and the butter is just melting right on top, and it tasted so divine. That was one of the best snacks. Like this one is gonna be a staple. I'm gonna be making this one all the time. Um, it's a healthier snack, but you can also enjoy it with a little bit of butter and have a little bit of a balance. So good. I totally recommend this one. So yeah. And for our last item here is these yogurt scoops. So using an ice cream scoop, I scooped out the filling, then froze it, then dipped them in chocolate, and the chocolate on the outside hardens, creates like a hard shell on the outside, and it's so crunchy. Um, so let's try them out. So I'm gonna cut a little piece here. Um, they were already just cutting into them. Like the chocolate immediately snapped, and the filling was so nice and sweet, and you can even add, like, I just added peanut butter and the yogurt, but you can even add like a sweetener like maple syrup or even honey. But just as is, like this, it was so good. This was one of the best snacks, and I would 10 out of 10 make this again. I would honestly give this 12 out of 10. It was so good. I'd recommend this. So good. So this, you guys, was us trying the viral 2 ingredient recipes to see if they were actually worth it. Some of them were really good, some of them were not the best, but that was so much fun, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.